When you have that freedom and when you don't have any barriers, no restrictions, you can kind of do what you want to do, I think that's when magic happens. It's a mixture of people, you know, there's old, there's young, there's new, there's established, it's a mix, good mix.
My name is Saskia.
My name is Yazet.
I'm Finn.
I'm Freddie Burl.
So I'm Fred.
I'm Rayfiolo.
I'm Leo Carlton.
I'm Jawara Ali.
My name's Louise Gray.
My name's Freya Nusa.
I'm Nazifa Begum.
I'm Hermes.
My name's Luke.
My name is Pig Ignorant.
I'm Ellis.
I'm Bailey.
I'm Simon Gray.
I'm John T. Melman.
I think the main word that comes to mind is freedom. I feel completely free to, first of all, take part when I want or not, to show or try and sell what I want, not contingent on what Nazir thinks or what anybody else thinks. I guess all our voices are really heard in it, and it's really a collective where you put in and you take what you put in a sense. It's about how much you do for it.
In Fantastic Toiles, there's kind of no limits to what you could put into there, really. Even when they get you to fill out the stock sheet of what you've made for this drop, it's literally got the craziest options, like leg scarf and poster. Do you know what I mean? It's not just clothes. And I think the key thing that stops it from becoming a beast, which I think a lot of high-end fashion brands can become to work for, is that there's no person at the top making profit off of us.
What's different about it for me is just the autonomy. I need that community, I need that support of well, it's not even about saying your work's good or anything, it's just knowing that there's people there that are doing the same thing as you.
He wanted to create a community, and he's amazing at doing that. As a Londoner, I think that's also quite rare. I come from the more traditional sense of going through Fashion Week. But when I go to Fantastic Toiles, where I see people in the queue or in the shop, or you see each of the designers even buying each other's stuff, it's a genuine and real community. I've never seen anything like it, and it's really, really inspiring.
I mean, you've got two types of people who do Fantastic Toiles. You've got people that just don't fit in with that system, and people that are actively choosing to reject it, I guess. I'm personally both. I've been in the system, I hated it. There's no one trying to get a piece of your pie. Which is what I really hate about fashion. I hate that there's always someone there that's like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, this is really cool. And you've always got that, you've always got your back up in a way of someone wants to take your work and use it for their profitable gain in some way. There's none of that with Fantastic Toiles.
The sort of dedication of just wanting to make. So you find all of these makers that are doing things in their own way. They don't have to answer to somebody telling them, have you got a line sheet?
I think because we definitely don't produce in any sort of traditional sense the way we manufacture our garments. And in fact, most of our stuff, if you look back at the archive, a lot of it ends up being gifted. We love just making things for people. And I think because of the closeness and the family nature of Fantastic Toiles, it kind of allows it to feel like you are giving people a gift, and it's much more personal.
Everyone is each other's biggest fan kind of thing, and that was quite special to be in a place where you don't compete, you're just together and doing it for us.
We're doing it for the joy, really, because we all pay for it. We all if there's a shop space to pay for, we all pay for it. We all help build it. We all help take it down. It's the only thing that we monetarily get out of it is if we sell something, which isn't guaranteed every time. But it's it's not just you just throw your stuff in the shop and then come back on Sunday night to pick it up. It's a whole experience. There's the shoot 2 weeks before. There's the book that everyone contributes towards. Everyone helps set it up. We all literally we're there at 10 o'clock on a Friday night stapling fabric to the wall. It's a full process. It's not just about the clothes, it's the hype around it.
It's he's gone into the fashion system and then he's smashed that, and now he's gone into this other world, which is Fantastic Toiles, and he's done that, which is a completely it's about anotherness in London. I was there from the word go.
We run the shop ourselves. We do everything. We decide what the shop looks like.
The location.
Clean it.
Lots of cleaning, yeah.
The prices, everything like that. That's what I'm passionate about.
Basically, it's just so that the top people cannot leech off us anymore. So we're just being it's a big fuck you to the system, saying we're here.
Yeah.
And we're still going to do it. So we still want to be fashionable, and we want people to feel fashionable.
We've lost a lot of boutique shops. There's only a very few amount of them that really still exist. Yeah, ever since Fantastic Toiles started, I was just like, this place is amazing. This is insane that there's a possibility for people to make the kind of experimental work that ends up going into Fantastic Toiles, and that it actually is successful.
You could work when you wanted to work, and if you had something to put out, you could put it out. So yeah, it was just really exciting, and working with Fantastic Toiles allowed me to carry on doing that creative fashion stuff, and then still utilising what I'd learned in school and why I actually fell in love with in the beginning.
I think when I started out, there was a lot that was just massively rose-tinted glasses, and it was all very glamorized. And the reality of it is you have to find that for yourself, and this really is a way of doing that. It's hard and stressful and costs you money, and you make a lot of sacrifices to do it.
People are attracted to this industry like because of the glamour and not because they have this passion that they want to pursue. Like they just want like the kind of lifestyle that they think that it's going to give you, and it's actually like it's just not true. Like
yeah, we give that glamour to each other. I feel.
Well, I suppose there's sort of seems to be a lot of pressure. At least what I experienced when I was in university was there's a certain pressure to be sort of conforming to a certain way of doing things, and even though it was a creative place to be in when I was at university before for art, there was still there was quite an underlying theme that you had to follow, or an underlying setup that the teachers maybe wanted me to follow, and I just couldn't do that even if I wanted to, you know. Here, I think I don't feel any kind of pressure to do that. It's very sort of free in that respect, and there's nothing to hold us back from doing just what we want and what works best for us. Yeah.
I love unrefined pieces, and I think that's something we do really well. It's like very knee-jerk reaction. That's how I like describe my own like creative process, and I think of it in a way which is like, oh, I want to make something, and I don't want to go through the process of making a paper pattern, doing all of this, blah blah blah. Like I worked with Nazir just before lockdown happened. It was like it was really exciting for me because I hadn't experienced fashion or creation in a way like that before, and then getting to work with him for a very brief time, like one-on-one, opened up my mind, my eyes a bit more to like how I want to create and what I want to do. Just allowing me to see things in a different perspective made me feel like I was like, oh, okay, this person actually cares about what I want to do, and I can take that forward into my own ways of making, which I felt like I maybe wasn't getting so much from university at the time, and was making me feel like a little bit, maybe a little bit sort of frustrated at the whole system. I've sold at other shops, and there is such a sort of like separation from customer, and then through Toiles, being there in person, getting to meet people, being excited with people that you've just like met, and maybe they're like, I can't quite afford it. Do you think we can like work something out? Can I pay a bit less? Can I trade with you? I love that. Like I find that so enjoyable. Like part trading whatever. Like it just it makes me value what I'm doing even more, because I feel like it's got like it goes beyond money, and it's like obviously I need the money. I need to live, but like I also see it as such a great way of kind of like sharing with other creatives.
I think the most exciting part when you're, I don't know, like when I was at school, like at uni, is the process. And with Fantastic Toiles, you can literally just put the process out there as well, and people still love the process that you put. At my uni, it was so much about like what seams you've done and like the finishes and things. And it's really exciting to see people like kind of throw that out the window. And I finally had time to like sit down and like finish gluing all these pieces, drying it, stitching it, and then made like trousers and coats and then some dresses. And the great thing with Fantastic Toiles is because it's so not planned, I can literally use what's around me, and I have so much around me.
I have like a mental image like a customer. Usually it's like not the person that ever buys it, but I kind of in my head like create towards that person, but actually like usually like the complete opposite person buys it, and then like I go towards that and it's like not them. And then
I don't feel limited. Like, I don't feel like I have to kind of make things fit a certain box, or it's very open to like everything, and that's what I love about it.
Dressing should be playful, and like it should be enjoyed. Like all of the pieces that we've made are there to be enjoyed. So when you're interacting with people that come into the shop, it's just really fun, because you're like, oh, well, you could put this massive bangle on with like a dog toy bag with this and that, and it's just Yeah, it's like a...
It's like kind of ridiculous, but like...
It's fabulous.
We're so
it's
void
fantastic.
of that
Something, you add something from Fantastic Toiles and it kind of like gives it a little bit of a moment.
Yeah, a suit and then like a big neon, like fluffy,
tennis ball sunglasses.
Amazing thing, yeah.
Again, it's like they're not buying into something that anyone else is going to have. They're buying into that, yeah, that beautiful moment, which I think is magic, and they have that. They're the only person who has that. Nobody else is going to have that. You don't know what the force is pushing you to do that, but you have this idea, and you start making it, and you might spend 10 minutes on it, which is totally fine, or you might spend 10 hours on it, which is totally fine as well. But you dedicate yourself to that one piece, and you create a completely one-off thing, which nobody else is going to have, and which is so much more valuable than like a mass-produced product. So many mistakes turn into like the greatest ideas, because you would never afford to do that. You would never afford to do it, because we're all kind of like taught or told or expected to do things in a very specific way to get to a final product, when actually by the time sometimes you've gone over and over and over something, you've just killed it. Being able to pick up anything and make something of it. You don't know what it's going to be made from. You don't know if it's going to last 1 wear or 20 wears. You know, you don't know if you're buying an art piece or a garment. It could be an art piece if you wanted. You could hang it up or you could wear it. There's all sorts in there.
So my process is very work in progress. And I think just by proxy of that, it directly really links quite well to Fantastic Toiles, because creating objects that might not necessarily read as something that's completely finished, but is equally as valuable. That it allows me to keep experimenting, to keep making things that, for me, push the boundaries of my own practice and my own crafts and my own research. I think it's great to have this space where I can keep on pushing the boundaries of my own work and having the space to research and to experiment, but also being directly connected with customers who are looking for this. It gives it another level of realism while it being quite surreal at the same time.
Almofada é um universo que, para além da moda, ela tá nos vídeos, ela tá nas imagens, ela tá nos textos. E dentro desse lugar eu uso velharias e tecidos velhos e as transformo em peças com valor afetivo, com lembranças afetivas, e é basicamente isso.
Everyone's got interesting shapes, textures, smells even, that they're sort of interested in with the work they make, and very specific materials that almost can only come from the hand of that person. Fantastic Toiles is like a texture in itself.
That's a really nice way of putting it.
Thanks.
I try and disarm prejudice, and I try to do that through my clothes and through mainly taking a lot of military surplus apart and reconfiguring it and kind of using it as a tool against itself for different values than what I think the military stands for, or kind of nationalism, the nation state. And so that's what I do in a nutshell, to kind of promote a transnational way of life.
The hunger when I'm making something to see how it's going to look is what actually gives me the motivation to keep sewing it like long into the night and stuff and finish it. I'm not like a robot maker who just likes to reproduce things, because sometimes you might be making something with a certain model or person in mind, and then you accidentally, you know, she's not available or they're not available, and you put it on someone else and it actually looks a million times better.
You know, when I started Fantastic Toiles, my work looked very different. I don't know how to, I've never really been taught how to sew, so I think that, and then now, like a few years later, it's like transforms, and I quite like that idea of allowing people to transform and move.
This is probably like one of my most popular like designs, and this just kind of happened. I was like in Photoshop and I wanted to make like an old breakfast menu, like, you know, when you go to like a cafe and like they've not updated their menu since like 2001 and it's like really grubby. I wanted to create a menu like that, and then I had this image like saved as a PNG file. I put it on a t-shirt and it like really popped.
Yeah, it's just about doing what you want in your own way, and like, you know, whether you as long as you're making the decisions, it doesn't really matter what the decisions are. You might look at my studio and be like, that looks mental, but to me it's completely in order. Like for me, DIY is saying I don't really care if you think my work's good or not. I'm just sort of seeing the world that exists and saying I don't want that. right now is the most freedom I've ever had as a designer, I think.
I've been sort of just drawing and painting for most of my life, and like, because I've always been quite creative, and that was like always something I sort of wanted to do when I was older. I think I'm still the youngest person in Fantastic Toiles at the moment, so that was like, you know, it's quite a big opportunity for me to be a part of the team. A lot of the stuff is one of one, and it's like, this is the only place that someone can come and buy them, basically. We have a new sort of shop every month and a half or something like that, and so it's sort of just like in our everyday lives, I think we come up with new things just based on how sort of life is treating us, I suppose, and then in between each of those sort of month and a half periods, then there's always some kind of new thing that comes out of that time, and it doesn't require us to sort of stick to anything in particular. So.
Usually the Fantastic Toiles stuff, like, I've either like draped it all in like a similar way, or like pinned odd things together in a similar way, or like got a pattern of mine and like cut it out in a similar way, but it's all made of different stuff, which is like collected or like found in charity shops. Or
I do really love that idea of reusing something that already exists, and you're not you know, removing that waste. As much as there is a big diversity of different kinds of work and different individuals doing the work, there is actually quite an interesting like melting pot, like almost a crossover with everybody's work, because there are some themes that cross over with all of us.
There's not really like a very intense curatorial thing.
One of the best things for me about it, it's its diversity, if that's being socially or culturally or any type of diversity. I think coming as a working class artist, approaching like maybe a stockist or a gallery or anything, there may be like a bit of friction there, that maybe not understanding of me, not understanding them, but then not understanding me. But Fantastic Toiles, I guess that friction really isn't there because it's so socially diverse anyway, which I think is why we all get on so well and everything gels quite nicely. I think that's the biggest difference. There's a lot of things to learn from Fantastic Toiles, being a shop or a space to educate people, which other spaces could probably really benefit from learning from or looking at. I think you're always going to be inspired by the people that are around you, but I think I really like the idea of going forward, like collaborating with more people in the shop, or even collaborating with people outside the shop, like with friends of mine who maybe need some money, or who are very great creative people as well, but maybe in a tricky situation, I'd like to collaborate with them and then help them make some money through me, and we can do something interesting. I think there's like an ongoing collaboration even within.
Like, we all respect each other's ideas, and like it's not really a design collective. It is more of a shop that sells collectively and comes from a similar kind of standpoint.
London moment, pictures, magazine, whatever, like shoots, and then someone has it and wears it out. So it has its own life, so it's nice to. I like separating a little bit who I am to my work, because I feel like it's an extension of me. And one piece that I made was a gilet of my mom's from 10, 12 years ago that I went back, my late mom, I went back and found it in her wardrobe, and I thought, wow, this I could do something to. So one piece was actually my mom's
so nice.
Gilet from like 15 years ago that I remaked, recycled, whatever you call it. Every object has its own like life, so I kind of believe in that as well. Yeah.
I mean, I know I want to keep like most of the stuff I've made, and it's going to be really hard to let go of it because it's all made out of stuff that I've kind of acquired over like so many years. Like, found that at a boot fair, found that in this country. You almost like know where your pieces have gone, and I think that's what's nice about it being like a 2-day shop versus let's put this in and it's just like an indefinite amount of time until it's sold.
For me, a fashion system should just be anything that anybody wants it to be.
You have to create the fantasy. It's your job to sort of excite people and bring them into your world.
Clothing is for you, and then fashion is for other people to view, in my eyes. So that's why I say I'm a clothing designer.
That idea of saying we instead of me, I think it's like a better way, I think, for artists going forwards to be, I think.
And it's always a conversation, like it's never, Fantastic Toiles is this. It's still, like, it's gonna grow and it's gonna be this weird fractal thing forever.
If we can have our own like brands or our own labels and do it ourselves together, working out among ourselves, it gives us the opportunity to make it be however we want it to be.